Hi there, mathematicians. Have you been practicing those different strategies for multiplication? We're going to continue with that today. Today, we're going to look into a strategy that's called partial product multiplication. Okay? The wonderful thing about having all these different strategies under your belt, as they say, is because you'll be able to use them to check your math. Okay, a good mathematician always does check their math, and it's wonderful when you have more than one strategy to do it. Okay, so remember last time we talked about the standard algorithm, right, where we consider that kind of like long multiplication, where we have the numbers lined up in this way, more traditional, very traditional kind of way of doing it. And this is how a lot of us who are in my generation learned how to do it in school. And we pretty much only had one main way to do our multiplication, and this was pretty much it. And of course, the way we would check our math would be more like we would take the final product, which was the answer, right? The sum of the two sections, right? 31 times 4, and then 31 times not 1, because this 1 is in the tens column, so we know that this 1 was really a 10. So it's 31 times 4, and then it's 31 times 10. We would take those two separate products, we would add them up, and then we would get our final product. If we wanted to check our math, we would really more like check just the answer. We would take 434 and then subtract either 124 or subtract 310, and then we would say, okay, did we get the other part here? So if I go ahead and take away 310 from 434, am I going to be left with 124, which is the other addend? Okay, but there's another way. You can actually even do something where it actually builds on this very same concept of using the different products and adding them up, but it's in the form of something called a Punnett square. So let me go ahead and show you how that looks. I'll write it out for you so it's a little bit closer and easier to see.
Okay, guys, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get started with a drawing of a Punnett square. So it basically is like a square with 4 squares inside of it. So you'll see I just made like these 4 little squares inside of a bigger square. Now you take your first factor, which was 31, but you know that 31 is really 30 and 1. So there I wrote that. And then for the 14, it's really 10 and 4. So there's our 10 and 4. So now I'm going to multiply 30 by 10. And of course, we know that that is 300. So I'm putting 300 in my first square. See that? 10 times 1 is 10. So I'm going to write that right inside of the second square. 30 times 4 we know is 120. And then the last but not least is 4 times 1, and that's 4. Now what I'm going to do with all of these products, these partial products, is I'm going to basically line them up. And I like to line them up in accordance with, from greatest to least, I should say. So there's 300, there's 120, then there's 10, and then of course 4 on the bottom. And then what I'm doing now is essentially going to add them all up, all these little products, these partial products. And of course, I will arrive 0, 0, 0 plus 4 is 4, 0 plus 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 1, 4, and that's in the hundreds place. And there's my answer, 434. Always remember to label your answers clearly. So what's the answer again? 434. Which is what we got earlier with our standard algorithm. And there it is again. All right, so it all checks out. Awesome. Now I'm going to show you another way. Okay, so we're still sticking with our, Punnett square, but we're going to make it a little more true to size, as it were. I like to think of a Punnett square kind of like a house. So I'm going to make a little roof right here, as you can see. But still, in a house you have lots of rooms. So we're going to make these sections more, I guess, true to size, if you will. So we have 30 and 1. We know 30 is a lot bigger than 1. So there we have those sections broken up. 10 bigger than 4, of course. So 30 times 10, well, that's going to give me the largest of my partial products. So that's kind of like having the gigantic room. Then you have 10 times 1. 30 times 4 is going to be a smaller but still kind of large room. And then, of course, the room for the baby, you know, the nursery. 4 times 1. So there's 300 again, the largest square footage, if you will. And then we have our 10, we have our 4, and then we have our 120. And don't forget, we are adding all of these up. I'm going to go across horizontally this time. 300 plus 120 plus 10 plus 4. And once again, it still needs to equal 434. Okay? Awesome.
So there you have it. I hope that helps you out a little bit to have more than one strategy under your belt. And then remember, you can always use these multiple strategies to check your math against each other, right? You could check your answers against each other and make sure you do end up with the exact same answer. Oh, and one other thing, my favorite one is really doing it this way, the partial product, only because when I have large numbers to work with and I don't have access to a pen and paper, I can do the simple math of just, 30 times 10, for example, and 1 times 10, 30 times 4, and 4 times 1. I can break that up in my mind, add it up in my mind, and still get to 434, even without having pen and paper. And you'll find that you'll be able to do 2-digit, 3-digit multiplication problems even in your mind mentally, and you'll still get the right answer. But of course, when you get a chance, go ahead and check with another strategy. Okay, guys, have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.